Hello, everyone. Today is now day 14. Yes, 1-4. Getting close to the halfway point in this journey, 40-day big journey. Um, Today, we are hoping to go and read a big part of chapter 6 of Mark. And this is where Jesus feeds 5,000. And when it says 5,000, it actually says 5,000 men. So if it's saying 5,000 men, that very well could be even more, because they may not even be, maybe they're saying like men like mankind, or maybe they're saying just men, and it's saying as far as, well, the wives and the kids are all on top of that. And the fact that Jesus goes and does that with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and even after everyone goes and eats, there's still, I think it said like 12 baskets left over, and that doesn't even make sense. But the thing is this is one of the miraculous things that Jesus did. And what I like is at the beginning, like after teaching, like one of the things he says is he goes and says, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while." Like Jesus gives the example of resting. He tells us to rest. And I think that's a good reminder, because we think we always have to be so busy and doing all these things. Doesn't mean rest every day. But I mean, after you're doing big things, he's saying to go and rest. Like it can be weary to go and to teach and to do God's work. And in this example, Jesus tells his disciples to go, or now they're being referred to as apostles because they're the ones going out. They're not just students anymore. And he's telling them to rest.
Yeah, and how at the bottom it talks about how they sat down in groups, and the apostles were like, well, should we send them away to go have them get their own food? And Jesus like, no, you guys feed them. And I just think they've got to be like thinking at that point, okay, Jesus, are you crazy? Like, we don't have anything here. But just to see how God multiplies. And in another version of the gospel, so this is Mark, there's Matthew and Luke and John that also share the story of these different miracles that Jesus did. And one of those actually does say that in addition to the 5,000 men, there were also women and children there. So it's crazy to think there's even more. And it makes me think of like, when we give God what we have, even if it seems like a little bit to us, God asks us in his word to do something called tithing. And tithing means that he's very specific about it, and it's 10% of what you make, you give back to the church. Now, some of you may be saying like, well, I don't have a church, I don't go to church, or I don't know, where to give this money to. There's lots of different places. There's people overseas. If you go on World Vision, that's a great place where you can sponsor a child that doesn't have food to eat. You can feed them. Yeah. And that's a way to use the money that God's given to you. But I just think this is a great testimony that when you give what God asks you to give, he will multiply it and use it for great and big things.
Yeah, and the thing is this is just one of the miraculous things that's mentioned here. And as you read through Mark, you're going to see this is not the only miracle. This is not the only thing, but that Jesus continues to go and wow and do these incredible things. And like what Mrs. Haley was saying about tithing, like it says, I mean, technically tithe is like 10%. And the thing is if you do have a job, then I would say you pray about it, and you pray like, where can you go and use that little bit of money? And it's not like it's a ton, but I had someone tell me once, they were like, what? I don't want to give away some money. And I heard an old pastor, and they had explained it like, God gave you the ability to work. And if he gave you the ability to work, it's technically that'd be his money, because you're alive and you're doing that. He's the one giving peace. He's the one doing things. So really it's like God's giving you 90% to go and, spend on what you like, and then he's asking for 10% back. And with that 10%, my opinion, you go and pray about it and see like maybe that could be a church or an organization, or it could be a family in need. And I would say you go and pray about that, and if you're praying about it, God's going to be able to go and give you discernment to go and see where to put that money. And if you're not making any money, I mean, you could even go and tithe some of your time. I mean, if you went and give part of your day to where you're volunteering, to where you're helping, to where you're encouraging others, because there's ways to do that too. And that doesn't take any money, but I know that definitely can go and glorify God be exciting to him.
Mm-hmm. And if you're needing some ideas of where you want to put your tithe to, you can always email us at refugearmona@gmail.com. Just let us know, hey, I'm looking for a good place to tithe. We'll give you a list of options and some ideas to kind of get you praying about too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you guys so much. For tomorrow or for the next day that you're reading, it's going to be day 15, and we're going to be wrapping up chapter 6. That's going to be on page 39 and page 40. And then that's the end of chapter 6, and then we'll start chapter 7 the day after that. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us.